And now, ladies and gentlemen, from the heart of the Inland Empire, right here in sunny Southern California, it's Robert Cardoza Live, where we talk about politics, money, and you. This is the intersection of business and politics. And now here's your host, Robert Cardoza.
And welcome aboard. I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. And as usual, we have got a fantastic show scheduled for you today. You don't want to miss any part of it. You know what? The shows are getting better and better and better every day. And on today's show, we're going to talk about what's in the news, new legislation the IRS loses, and we'll continue our segment, the tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey, and the rest of the story. The story today is going to be inseparable. Well, I'm not going to tell you more than that. You'll have to find out a little bit later on in the show. And then on our special segment, I'm going to be talking about tax savings for couples who actually work together. I'll answer your emails, and our own Joel Saltzman, Dr. Wireless, will be here, and we'll be talking about new wireless technology and the fact that the new iOS 10 has gone out, and also Microsoft has done some big stuff in the way of updates as well. So we'll get that taken care of. Right now, I want you to know at 3:01 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 56 degrees. Man, the sky is blue. The sun is out. It is just gorgeous out there. But now let's talk about the news. I want to talk about the encapsulated news we do every day. We just abbreviated it so we can talk about the 10 top things that you need to know so you can have conversations with your friends, your neighbors, your people you work with or work for, and they'll know that you know what's going on in the news. So let's just get right to that, and then we'll do some more in-depth stuff after this. These are the 10 things that you need to know for Wednesday. Your daily look at late-breaking news, upcoming events, and the stories that will be talked about all day today, and tomorrow too, probably. And first up, Trump rolls out child care maternity leave plans. You know, the proposals to guarantee new mothers 6 weeks paid maternity leave and make child care more affordable breaks with conservative orthodoxy. Well, Clinton is to return to the campaign trail on Thursday after a pneumonia bout. Boy, it seems like that was awful fast. Clinton's scheduled to address the Congressional Hispanic Caucus Institute dinner in Washington on Thursday evening actually, and appear on The Tonight Show on Friday. Well, also, Syria's ceasefire deal is rife with legal questions for the United States and Russia cooperation. The first hurdle is that Congress has enacted a law prohibiting any military cooperation with Moscow in the wake of Russia's annexation of the Crimea region of the Ukraine. Well, how about the former Israeli president, Shimon Peres, suffers a major stroke? Told you about this yesterday. Dr. Isaac Kreis, director of the Sheba Medical Center, says Perez experienced lots of bleeding as a result of a stroke. And then why the United States households got a raise for the first time since 2007? Well, higher minimum wages in many states and tougher competition among businesses to fill jobs pushed up pay last year, while low inflation made those paychecks stretch farther, which is a good thing. And what led to the arrest of two men in 1973 slayings of two girls? Well, one suspect was arrested in Oklahoma and another in California after authorities compared their DNA with semen from two men found on one of the victims. And Chelsea Manning ending a hunger strike after Army approves treatment. The soldier imprisoned for leaking classified information to WikiLeaks will get surgery to begin treatment for general dysphoria, the ACLU said. And who is staying in the U.S. on a visa for fear of returning to Ethiopia? Well, marathoner Feyisa Lalisa fears returning to his home county or country after making an anti-government gesture at the finish line in Rio on his way to the silver medal. And a prosecutor says armed Oregon sanctuary occupiers are being tried for actions, not beliefs. During his opening statement, Jeffrey Barrow dismissed claims by group leader Aman Bunde and others that the takeover was a legitimate protest of federal land management. And then finally, bar cars returning to the New York City, Connecticut commuter trains. Hello. You know what? The decision restores a tradition dating back 50 years that evoked the stylish cocktail sipping scenes of the Mad Men TV show. You know what? Great for the executives, and why not have a bar car on a train? It's not like you're doing the driving, right? Well, let's do some in-depth news here. Let's talk about an update from Clinton's doctor. The Democrat is fit to serve. Hillary Clinton is recovering well from a pneumonia and remains fit to serve as president of the United States, her doctor said in a letter released just today by her campaign. The health details made public by the Democratic presidential nominee included a description of the pneumonia diagnosis Clinton received last week, Friday. Her illness became public after she left Sunday's 9/11 memorial service early and was seen on video staggering while getting into a van. The health episode fueled long simmering conservative conspiracy theories about Clinton's health and provided a fresh line of attack for rival Donald Trump, who has frequently questioned whether Clinton has the stamina to serve as commander-in-chief. Well, we'll see how transparent that is. You know, Trump was going to appear tomorrow on the Dr. Oz show, and give out all of his, medical stuff. And it looks like that's not going to be forthcoming. He'll still be appearing, but he won't be disclosing any of the medical stuff. So, you know, don't be surprised. I was going to tape it. I was going to watch it. Now I'm not going to even bother. Well, with his wife sidelined, Bill Clinton steps in to fill the void. You know, when Hillary Clinton was sidelined this week with pneumonia, her campaign didn't rush to cancel a busy slate of events out west. The presidential candidate's husband simply stepped up to take her place. Former President Bill Clinton hobnobbed with wealthy donors at a pair of Beverly Hills fundraisers, including a $100,000 per couple dinner at the home of designer Diane von Furstenberg. He snapped selfies with fans during a surprise stop at a trendy coffee shop in Los Angeles, and he rallied supporters in the swing state of Nevada. I'm glad to have a chance to stand in for Hillary today, he told voters in Las Vegas today. She did it for me for a long time, and it's about time I showed up and did it for her. Well, you know what? Isn't that great? You know, having a former president on standby is an unprecedented luxury for a White House candidate. It's also a reminder to voters that when it comes to the Clintons, the couple's a package deal, for better or for worse. It's two for the price of one. Isn't that something? Yeah, absolutely. That's a good thing. Well, you know what? Back in the news, in leaked emails, Powell calls Trump a national disgrace. In a trove of newly leaked emails, former Secretary of State Colin Powell calls Donald Trump a national disgrace and suggests his own Republican Party is crashing and burning. Powell also laments Hillary Clinton's attempt to equate her use of private email at the State Department with his. The emails posted on the website dcleaks.com and first reported by BuzzFeed News late Tuesday offer insight into the unvarnished opinions of the respected retired Army general who was Secretary of State under President George W. Bush. The messages run from March of 2015 through last month. Powell, 79 years old, did not respond today to a phone message or email seeking comment. He earlier told BuzzFeed that he does not deny the email's authenticity. Yeah, you know, he wouldn't. In the emails, Powell said that he stayed relatively quiet during the rise of Trump, the Republican presidential nominee. To go on and call him an idiot just emboldens him. That's what Powell said. You know what? Doesn't get any better than that. I love this guy. I just wish that Powell had actually run for president. A little old for that, but I think he's in better shape than any of the other two people that are sitting there. Anyway, we need to take a short break. When we come back, I'm going to talk about the next news story. It's the long and bloody Syria war. This truce may be just a little bit different. I'll tell you all about it right after these brief messages. We've got a lot of great show left for you, so don't forget to come back here.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson & Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson & Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. That last sound effect, I gave it a try, but it didn't seem like it was working. Anyway, what it wound up doing is just cutting me out. Anyway, we're talking about the news. Let's talk about in a long and bloody Syria war, this truce may just be different. 5 years of failed efforts to quell the fighting in Syria have persuaded many observers that the war, inconclusive and catastrophic on a historic scale, may not be resolvable. A truce earlier this year took effect soon, started to fray, then vanished. But some things are different this week as a ceasefire brokered by the United States and Russia took effect. The reasons for pessimism are clear. Syrian President Bashar Assad is deeply entrenched in Damascus and seems willing to do whatever it takes to stay in power. He enjoys support not only among his fellow Alawites, followers of an offshoot of Shia Islam, but from Christians and other minority groups. Many fear his authoritarian rule less than a scenario in which security services collapse and the country falls into the hands of Islamic Sunnis. Meanwhile, the factions fighting Assad are beset by competing agendas and visions for a future Syria. Gradually, Sunni Islamists have overshadowed the original moderates of the Free Syria Army and its splinter groups. That lends some resonance to Assad's message that, in effect, he is the least bad option. That doesn't mean he's a good option. He's just the least bad option. So give that some thought and chew on it a little bit. Well, a U.S. official says that it's difficult to alter U.S. elections through hacking. President Barack Obama's Homeland Security advisor said today that it would be very hard for someone to hack into America's voting system in a way that could alter an election outcome. Lisa Monaco, speaking on the event commemorating the 10th year anniversary of the Justice Department's National Security Division, said election systems by and large are not hooked up to the internet and are diffuse diffusely operated by state and local governments. That makes it extremely desperate, extremely diffuse, and as a consequence, extremely difficult to have an effect across the board that would result in a change in results. Monaco said that during a question and answer session just today. The bigger worry, she said, involves efforts to sow concern or confusion about the resilience of the system. To help counter that, the federal government is pushing out to states to set a set of tools such as the ability to scan for vulnerabilities and quickly patch them, and the best practices that they should apply, including encrypting their voter registration data, she said. So we'll see what happens with that. But you know what? It does not seem like it's going to be much of an issue. Well, you know, the United States and Israel signed a massive military aid deal, $38 billion over 10 years. Well, you know, that's a little bit more than what the previous 10 years was. You know, you hear about this breaking down of the relationship between the United States and Russia. Well, it doesn't sound like it. The United States just today signed an unprecedented new security agreement with Israel that'll give the Israeli military $38 billion over 10 years. The deal, the largest such agreement the United States has ever had with any country, amounts to $3.8 billion a year beginning in budget year 2019, compared with the $3.1 billion the U.S. gave Israel annually under the current 10-year deal that expires in 2018. This commitment to Israel's security has been unwavering and is based on a genuine and abiding concern for the welfare of the Israeli people and the future of the state of Israel, President Barack Obama said in a statement. After months of negotiations that took place after a particularly tense time in the relationship amid disputes over the Iran nuclear deal, the memorandum of understanding was signed at the State Department by Israel's National Security Advisor, Jacob Nagel, and Thomas Shenan, the third highest ranking U.S. diplomat. Well, Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu noted those tensions, but stressed that the agreement proves that relations between Israel and the United States are strong and powerful. Yeah, that doesn't mean that they're not going to be having disagreements from time to time, because they need to maintain their independence. Just like we do, for that matter, you know, when you think about it. Let's talk about a divided America losing out to China. Workers embrace Trump. You know what? Crushed by Chinese competition and feeling betrayed by mainstream politicians, workers in the hills of eastern Ohio are embracing Donald Trump and his tough talk on trade. For decades, they and others living across the Ohio River in West Virginia found work in coal mines and at local aluminum plants, union jobs with good pay and generous benefits. But those jobs are going, if not gone. You know what? This is just part of a divided America. Coal's being wiped out by stricter environmental rules and competition from cheap natural gas. The Ormet aluminum plant, it's out of business, doomed by China's domination of the global aluminum market. In an angry election year, some of America's angriest voters live in places like Monroe County, where local economies have been punished by price competition with China. Their frustration has fueled support for the Republican presidential nominee, with his belligerent rhetoric about the need to outsmart America's economic rivals, tear up unfair trade deals, and reestablish America as the world's dominant player. Hear, hear. That's exactly what we need. Now, we're going to take one more short break. When we come back, we're going to give you some good news. Yep, we're going to talk about the IRS losers. And the first case that's there is a case that says never profitable business actually had a profit motive. And I'll tell you all about that after these brief messages. Don't go away. We got a lot of great show left for you.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios, Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
The story you are about to see is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:23 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 56 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in New York City, well, it's 70 degrees and they got some light rain going on there right now. And if you're in Chicago, Illinois, well, it's 73 degrees and it's mostly cloudy, and that's what the weather is, at least in that part of the country. We'll be talking about global weather a little bit later on the show. But right now, let's put a smile on your face. Let's send the hair up on the back of your neck. Let's talk about the IRS loses. And the first case here today is that a never profitable business had a profit motive. That's what this thing says. Anyway, here's the case. A corporate executive whose family loved horses bought a farm and used it to run a business boarding horses, but it lost money for 8 years, ranging somewhere between $36,000 to $94,000 annually over that time, until he finally decided to sell the farm. He deducted all the losses against his regular income, but the IRS disallowed the deduction, saying that he never had a profit motive in running the farm. So he went to court to get some justice. That's what the judge said. The executive actually did board horses at commercial rates, hired employees to tend to the horses, worked every weekend on the farm himself, kept full business records, and had a credible business plan. This all indicated that he did have a profit motive, so the deductions are absolutely deductible. And, you know, what I really love, not only that the IRS lost, but they had to pay the guy's legal fees, and they had to pay him interest on the delayed refund. So, there we go. How about this? The IRS loses. A company's houseboat and dock are not taxed to its owner. Well, listen to this. You know what? Daniel Reeves owned VMI Incorporated, a small operating business. Now, he bought a house on a lake and then behind it built a houseboat, floating garage to hold a boat and jet skis and dock. Now, he paid $81,000 of the cost. VMI paid $187,000 of it. And they were co-owners. VMI used the houseboat facilities for business meetings, but failed to keep business records. So they weren't able to take advantage or lost the deductions for them. The IRS then treated VMI's share of the cost of the facilities as a taxable dividend to Reeves. So Reeves went to court. This is what the judge said. Reeves' payment of $81,000 entitled him to use the facilities, and the IRS hadn't shown that he had done so excessively. So no dividend is proved. Now, when we talk about dividends here, in this case it's corporation, this is where they're talking about that double taxation. Not only does the corporation have to pay the tax, on that disallowed deduction, but then when they declare it as a dividend to Reeves, he's got to pay a dividend tax on top of it. Now, the IRS didn't get away with it. Let me give you one more the IRS lost. Disability insurance benefits are tax-free. Richard Coulter owned his own business, which had a group disability insurance policy that covered him. Now, he later became disabled, closed his firm, and filed for disability. He said that the disability payments were tax-free, but the IRS said that they were taxable to him because his firm had paid the premiums for him. He hadn't paid them personally. Well, that's not the way he felt about it. He went to court. This is what the judge said. To keep the firm from improperly paying his personal expenses, Kotler had annually reimbursed the company for all personal items that it had paid on his behalf by deducting the amount of his expenses from other amounts the firm actually owed him. Now, he included the premiums in these items, so he had, in fact, paid them himself, making his benefits, you got it, absolutely tax-free. Well, you've heard me talk about being a fly on the wall when the IRS is doing things. That's where we're at right now with this segment that we call Inside the IRS. It's very, very much like the Twilight Zone. Well, these are not actual tax court cases, but these are things that the IRS does that if you know in advance, you can kind of prepare and protect yourself with. But you know what? Knowledge is probably the most important thing that you're ever going to have. So let me talk about this. If you ever think about getting audited by mail, a lot of people do. In recent years, the IRS has increased its audit coverage of individual taxpayers by conducting what they call correspondence audits. Now, correspondence audits numbered almost 1 million last year, bringing in an average of $7,800 each in additional tax. Now, what if, let's say you're selected for a correspondence audit and you know that your return includes some, let's just call them gray areas having to do with income, but the IRS says that it only wants to examine your medical expenses. Well, your best approach here? Consider not responding at all, in which case the IRS might simply disallow the medical expenses, leaving your income unscrutinized. But you need to be careful. Should you not begin any correspondence that may lead to a question about whether all of your income was reported, you need to speak to a qualified tax advisor. Make sure that you don't get yourself into any kind of trouble. This is the kind of trouble that could get you spending weekends away from home, so you want to be careful with this. How about this? The IRS tries to save money by cutting back taxpayer service assistance. Yeah, go leave it to them, right? The IRS has figured out that it costs an average of $28.73 to help each taxpayer who shows up in person at a local office to have a question answered. Now, helping the same person via a web contact costs 13 cents, and helping a taxpayer using the automated toll-free telephone number costs 71 cents. Now, recently, the IRS tried to close down 68 taxpayer assistance centers because of the high costs that were involved there. A congressional backlash stopped the closings. Now, what may work to save the IRS money in the future? Well, the IRS is considering the development of an authentication system, much like banks use today, that would allow taxpayers to perform account-related services by logging on to its website. Now, it's been experimenting with these things, and it hasn't been terribly successful to date, but they keep working on it. Just remember, we keep talking about identity theft, and that's one of the biggest concerns and problems that they have here. Now, we're going to take a little short break. When we come back, I want to talk to you about tax savings for married couples who actually work together, and there's a number of things that you can do here. So don't go away. I'll tell you all about that in just a couple of minutes.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchase high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're 3:33 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that hasn't changed at all, and the low hasn't changed either. It's going to go down to 56 degrees. But if you're listening to us on our syndicated global network and you're in Paris, France, well, you know what? At 64 degrees, there's some light rain. In Rome, Italy, it is 68 degrees, and it is absolutely clear. And you know what? Who wouldn't want to be in either one of those places? Absolutely. Well, you know what? I want to talk to you about tax savings for married couples who actually work together. And there's a number of them. You know, it was once very common for married couples to work side by side on a family farm. Today, while the number of family-owned farms is few, there is an ever-growing number of couples who co-own businesses and are together 24/7 at work and at home. Another group of couples spend just as much time together with one spouse working as the employee of the other. Now, these business arrangements present unique financial opportunities and traps. Now, what couples who work together really need to know? Let's talk about we call it couplepreneurs, just like an entrepreneur. The terms couplepreneurs and jointly owned sole proprietors are being thrown around quite a bit these days, but the latter term really is a misnomer. When two or more people co-own an unincorporated business, they automatically become partners in a partnership, whereas a sole proprietorship can have only one owner. The Small Business Administration notes that the number of couplepreneurs is growing at the rate of about 5% a year. 10 years ago, the U.S. Census Bureau counted 2 million husband and wife partnerships, but there are no more recent figures than that right now. Let's talk about tax filing. As long as there's a written or oral understanding between spouses to divide the profits and losses of a business, and they have not incorporated or filed for limited liability status, they're treated in the tax law as partners in a partnership. Now, as such, the business files a Form 1065. That's a U.S. return of partnership income. And each spouse receives a Schedule K-1. That's a partner's share of the income, deductions, credits, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. Now, they get that for his and her share of partnership items, now such as net profit or loss, the expensing deduction, Section 179, and the general business credit. Now, each spouse, co-owner, pays its self-employment tax on his or her share of the partnership income. That's the Social Security, even if only one spouse provides services for the businesses. Now, here's the thing. Simpler filing may be on the way. Now, pending legislation would simplify tax filing for couplepreneurs, showing each to report as a sole proprietor, each would be treated as an owner, and each would pay income tax on the self-employment tax on his or her share of the net earnings of the business as reported on separate Schedule C's of their Form 1040. Now, this would eliminate the need to file a partnership return and would save a couple many hours of return preparation time. This proposal has widespread support, including from the IRS National Taxpayer Advocate, and may soon be in effect. At least that's what we're hearing. A lot of people are doing that already. The IRS has never, ever questioned it because the end result winds up being the same. And what it winds up doing is it saves the couple the cost involved in filing a partnership return as well. Well, how about a one-spouse ownership? When one spouse owns the business, putting the other spouse on the payroll may keep more money in the family. Instead of paying wages and benefits to a stranger, the money goes to a spouse and creates a number of tax-saving opportunities. There's income and self-employment tax savings, the spouse's wages, as well as payroll taxes owed by the business on those wages, the employer's share of the Social Security and Medicare, which is FICA taxes, and state unemployment tax are all deductible. The result there, the owner's net earnings are reduced by the deduction, minimizing self-employment tax for him and or her. And here's some other savings. The spouse's wages are exempt from federal unemployment tax or FUTA. The non-spouse's employee wages are not exempt from FUTA. Now, health insurance break. Putting a spouse on the payroll is a way for putting self-employed person to convert a personal deduction into a health insurance into the business deduction, saving self-employment taxes on the cost of that coverage. Now, here's how you do that. You hire your spouse to work in your business and agree to provide health coverage for your employees, their spouses, and dependents. Now, even if your spouse is the only employee, you then obtain coverage by virtue of being your spouse's spouse. The business deducts the cost of the coverage for its employees, which includes your spouse, reducing your net earnings from self-employment tax. That's going to save you almost 16%. Now, the business can also use a medical reimbursement arrangement to pay medical costs not covered by insurance. The employee's spouse and his or her spouse, for example, the owner, can receive reimbursements that are deductible by the business but not taxable to the recipient. But you need to be careful here because of the family relationship. The IRS tends to look very closely at such work arrangements. Now, to support the arrangement, you need to have the employee spouse sign an employment contract spelling out the job responsibilities. You need to pay the employee spouse a reasonable amount for work actually performed. And you need to keep time cards or other records to track the time and the work that was actually performed. And then retirement savings break. You can achieve tax savings for yourself as owner while ensuring a pension for your employee spouse. The tax law lets you pay a minimum pension of $10,000 a year, even in cases where this amount exceeds the employee spouse average compensation for his or her 3 best years. Now, given this, a spouse could receive this annual payment starting at age 65, even though he or she had never earned more than, let's just say $5,000 a year in salary. The $10,000 amount is reduced by 10% for each year that the spouse worked less than 10 years for the business. Now, to fund this pension, the business would make substantial contributions to the plan, all of which would be deductible by the business and reduce current taxes for the owner spouse. And then how about dependent care? Well, if a couple has a child under the age of 13, no tax credit can be claimed as long as one spouse is a stay-at-home parent. However, if that spouse works, even part-time, the couple may qualify for a dependent care credit of up to $1,050. For one child, $2,100 for 2 or more qualifying children, and one amount of the credit depends on the couple's adjusted gross income. Well, how about cases of divorce? Unfortunately, not all partnerships work out in business or in marriage. While transfers of interest in the business during a marital dissolution may be disruptive to the business, they usually are tax-free. Now, here's what happens when one spouse owns a business. The other spouse may have the right to under the law, state law, to share of the business in the couple split up. There's a better way, though, in a prenuptial or a postnuptial agreement, define the rights of each spouse to assets, including a business. Now, couples are co-owners. Couples who co-own a business should think about what it would happen if they divorced. Would they stay in business together even if they were to dissolve their marriage? Or would one spouse gain sole ownership of the business? If the business is incorporated and during the course of the divorce, one spouse acquires full ownership through the stock redemption where the corporation buys back shares, there can be immediate tax consequences under Treasury Regulations Section 1-1041-2, which has been revised. But one spouse, either the spouse who has shares redeemed or the spouse who acquires full ownership when such shares are redeemed, will be taxed. Now, depending upon the situation, actually. Now, important here, though, is tax that is going to be owed, but the tax law lets the couple decide who will bear the tax burden if they specify in the divorce decree or other written agreement who pays, and the agreement is executed before the reporting spouse must file his or her tax return for the year of the redemption. Well, how about in a case of death? A co-owned business may grow to be a very sizable asset. When a spouse dies who inherits his or her interest, well, the answer may be problematic when one or both spouses have children from a prior marriage. Say a couple owns a business together so that they have surviving spouse becomes the sole owner when the other spouse dies. Without any estate planning, when the survivor dies, his or her children would become the owners, leaving the children of the other spouse in the cold. There's a better way, though. Decide in advance who should inherit the business. Maybe it is the child who is working for the company, or maybe the business should be sold and the proceeds split among all of the children. Whatever disposition works for the family situation, be sure that legal documents and actions have been taken as required by state law regarding such things as the spouse's wills, trusts, partnership agreements, and stock certificates, and that they clearly reflect the intention of the parties. You want to make sure that this is not the time for you to make an error when it comes to these kind of planning. So, just be careful, and always use a licensed professional, somebody that knows what's going on. This isn't the time for you to play, let's make a deal. This isn't the time for you to decide whether or not you can get it done cheaper. You're going to get what you pay for. Use a professional. Now, we're going to take a short break. Do not go away. When we come back, I'm going to answer your emails as I promised you that I would. And the first email today comes from Amethyst Fotianos from Parlier, California, asking about an audit redo. And I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Do not go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:48 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. Well, that's down from 82 degrees on its way to 56 degrees. But you know what? If you're living in or listening to our show on one of our syndicated global networks and you're in London, England, it's 70 degrees and it is clear. And if you're in Vienna, Austria, it is 64 degrees and it is clear. So you know what? Good stuff going on around the world, around the country. Hope you're all enjoying our show today. But right now, I want to talk to you about answering some of the emails that you send in to me. My first one comes from Amethyst Fotiano from Parlier, California, asking about an audit redo and says, I just came through an IRS audit that resulted in a no change to my tax bill, and now I've already received another audit notice. This doesn't seem right. Is there any way to stop repeat audits like this? Well, you know what, Amethyst? The tax code section 7605 says that the IRS cannot audit the same year twice unless it has a specific reason for doing so, such as new information indicating a possible tax liability that it lacked at the time of the first audit. Now, similarly, the IRS's own rules say that it will not audit an item on a return if the same item was audited on a return filed for either of the two prior years with a no change result. Now again, unless it has a specific reason for doing so. Now your letter doesn't say whether you fit either of these situations, but if you do, you can call the IRS and ask it to discontinue the new audit. And guess what? They absolutely will. That's the way to go. Well, next email comes from Ulysses Quintero from Belfast, Maine, asking about tax withholding and says, I'm still working while my spouse is retiring and about to start receiving both a pension and Social Security benefits. It seems complicated to arrange separate tax withholding from both of them. So can I simply withhold the tax due on my spouse's retirement income from my own pay? Well, you know what, Ulysses? Yes, you can if you file a joint tax return with your spouse. Now, just file a new Form W-4 with your employer that elects to withhold sufficient tax from your pay to cover your joint tax liability. Now, wage withholding also can cover other tax liabilities arising from other sources, such as investment income, if you want to have it do that. Now, this can save you the need of filing quarterly estimated taxes to cover the tax on this income as well. And that's really the best way. It'll just save you an awful lot of headache and heartache and even a penalty possibilities. So keep that in mind. Well, my last email comes from Bilal Rubani from Covington, Kentucky. He won a television and wants to know what the tax is going to be. Well, here's the deal. He says, I won a flat screen TV. Let me get that. There we go. I won a flat screen TV as a prize, and a Form 1099 reporting its value was sent to me and to the IRS. But the value of the 1099 was the full manufacturer's suggested retail value, which is far more than the TV actually sells for in stores. Now, this seems to me to be really unfair. Can I report a lower amount? Well, you know what, Bilal? Here's the thing. Yes, you can. The prize is taxable to you at its fair market value, which is the price at which it actually sells at retail. Now, if this is lower than the price reported on that 1099, you can report the lower amount on your tax return. But be careful. Expect the IRS's computers to catch the difference between those two amounts, and that the IRS is going to probably contact you to ask about that difference. So just to be safe, document that lower value that you report with price advertisements from local retailers or the internet, and keep this proof in your tax files. Now, if the IRS then calls you, you should have no problem at all. And it's just the way these things work. And you'll be glad that you actually did that. Now, I want you to know that coming up next, we're going to be with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. I'm pretty sure he's going to be talking about the new iOS 10 update. And there was also an update done from, Windows from Microsoft. He'll probably talk about that too. And then later on the show, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. We're going to be talking, his story today is going to be inseparable. It's going to be a really great story. So you want to stay tuned and listen to that. So we're going to go for our break. When we come back, we'll be with Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Saltzman. Do not go away. We've got a lot of fantastic show on its way to you.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. You know, nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, you know Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 3:56 p.m. Pacific time. Currently 78 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. It's on its way down to 56 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Wichita, Kansas, well, it's 78 degrees, mostly cloudy, and it is humid as hell. But you know what? If you're in Torrance, California, and you're close to the beach, it's 72 degrees and it's clear. And that's where our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman, is. Hey, Joel, welcome aboard.
Thanks, Robert. Ready to make a house call. How are you today?
I am good, and I am excited, and you're going to be so ticked off at me, and I'll bet you can guess why.
You downloaded, I did too, though.
I did
downloaded
too.
10.
Yep, I downloaded it. I got a notice from you yesterday, and even though you say don't do it, I did it. I downloaded it. I love this thing.
Yeah, I like it too. I did the download. I backed up my device on iTunes, on iCloud, on everything else.
I did too.
Just to play it safe. And I talked to a few associates who did it, and it's been beta tested for a while, and everybody was asking me questions about it. So I figured, well, I'm going to have to ask Robert, otherwise I got to do it myself. So I did it myself.
Yeah, I did. So you knew I was going to do it, but anyway,
I knew you would.
Yeah, and I did do it. The only drawback, first of all, it takes a long time to do this update. But the only other drawback was I no sooner finished the update, and I had to do an upgrade for 40 apps that I had to. They automatically did an upgrade for 40 apps to the iOS 10.
Interesting. Yeah, mine went smooth, other than the fact that I got very choppy service. It sounded like Vonage, voice over IP, just not clean. My voice quality got much worse.
Oh, really?
And so I wasn't sure if it was the iOS 10. I figured it was, but I called T-Mobile, and apparently there's 3 sites down in my neighborhood. So I couldn't blame Apple for that. But boy, have I got stuff going on.
Well, then let me shut my mouth and let you entertain us.
Well, don't worry about it. We got all kind of, obviously since we talked, the iPhone 7 came out. The iPhone 7 Plus came out. We didn't initially think there was going to be huge differences, but now, knowing what those differences are, I do like the new devices. We have unbelievable deals. I mean, T-Mobile has busted everything wide open, and everybody's following suit. I don't know if you noticed this. T-Mobile started a program. I thought it was a mistake. And I actually had a client call in, and, it was just very unclear. But bottom line is this. Anybody with an iPhone 6 or an iPhone 6S can trade for an iPhone 7 32 gig for nothing.
Wow.
Anybody who has an iPhone 6 or iPhone 6S and wants the 7 Plus 32 gigabytes, $120, and it's yours. Trade your device.
I mean, I think that's phenomenal. But you know what? Just between you and me, you know what? 32 gigs just doesn't do it anymore. You got to go for more memory.
Well, you know what? I personally, and you can spend a little more on these upgrades and get, more memory. But I have that not just with T-Mobile. Guess who met that? Sprint. And guess who met that? Verizon. So I can do this with all 3 carriers for existing users or new users. So here is an opportunity, and I feel sorry for all those people that are on these Jump and Edge and all these programs where they're paying $10 a month or whatever more, to be able to do a fast upgrade, because it doesn't get any better than this. If you can get $650 for a phone you paid $650 for 2 years ago, I mean, it's nuts.
Yeah.
The only stipulation is to do this, you need to sign up on a 24-month equipment installation program, and every month they credit you. So it's just to prevent you from leaving early.
You know what?
Bottom line is, it's free.
Yeah, that's a no-brainer.
It's a no-brainer. And I'm going to tell you something else that's a no-brainer. Anybody out there, any of your listeners who have a family plan with 4 lines and are paying more than $160 a month are getting ripped off. And the reason I say that, T-Mobile just launched a 4-line program, unlimited voice, unlimited text, unlimited 4G standard definition data. Now, the caveat here, it's not high definition 1080p data. It's 480p. What's that mean? It means DVD quality, which is still darn good. There's no buffering or slow or 2G or 3G. It's 4G LTE, but it's just not quite the super, super, super high def resolution. So $160, 4 lines, unbelievable. Well, guess what? Sprint, same thing. $160, 4 lines, unlimited voice, text, and 4G data. Also 480p, but it's 4G LTE. So we have that deal with 2 carriers. What do you think Verizon did?
Followed suit.
Nope. They're not going to do that because that was a trick question. Verizon's never going to offer unlimited 4G. Just don't see it. Even I doubt they'll do this. They may, but I don't know that they have the bandwidth to do this. But they offered something that I think may even be better. And this is the plan I'm recommending for you. Last week I would have said go on the T-Mobile program. Listen to this one. Are you sitting down?
I am.
Okay, good. Verizon, 20 gigabytes of what they call limitless data. And the reason it's limitless is you get 20 gigs of 4G high-def 1080p, not the slowed-down version. If you go over 20 gigabytes for the 4 users, then you're going to get the 2G treatment, and they're going to slow you down. But you're never going to be charged 1 gigabyte, or $15 per gigabyte if you go over.
Yeah.
So 4 lines, 20 gigabytes, HD video included. If you want to do that with T-Mobile, it's an extra $25 a line. With Sprint, an extra 20. 4G LTE hotspot included. Now, if you want to do that with T-Mobile, extra $15 a line for 4G. They're going to give you 3G included. You want to add a tablet? $10 instead of $20 with T-Mobile. And it's unbelievable. I mean, this is Verizon. 20 gigs is a lot of data.
Yeah, I can't imagine anybody going over it.
Nobody's going to go over that. And if they do, they're going to be slowed down. But to be able to get Verizon's superior network, superior footprint, and now superior speeds, and it's not just 1080p. Verizon's working on this 3 times aggregate data speed platform that's going to offer 300 megabits per second. So while Sprint and T-Mobile are slowing everybody down, by changing the resolution to standard, which is still fine, Verizon's going to have the best picture quality by far.
Wow. So
anyhow, we got new phones, we got new plans, we still have the deals, 2 lines, unlimited, $100. Verizon also has a neat deal. It's $80 for. No, it's not $80. I'm trying to recall what that was. They have the 20 gig deal, which is $160. They have a new deal, which is, I want to say it's their large. It's the large package they offer, and they're offering 2 gigs for life on top of that. So just extra data. But pretty cool stuff. But anyhow, let's talk about, the other thing is iOS 10, you just mentioned, is out. Some really cool functionality changes. One of which is I noticed I can get to my camera from the start screen by swiping to the left. I notice I get all these cool messaging things. You can swipe from the right to left, from the down, up to down, down to up.
It anticipates you. I think what it does, my phone is already starting to learn about me, and it anticipates the things that I'm going to do.
And a lot of this stuff is programmable, so you can customize a lot of this stuff. But let's go back to this iPhone real quick, because I've had people asking me what's the difference and, is it worth getting? And the main difference is this. The cameras are much better on the new devices, especially the 7 Plus. The big deal on the 7 Plus is they're offering a dual 12 megapixel camera. What that means in English is you're getting a much wider aperture on both cameras. It's a 1.8. But more importantly, what this is going to allow people to do is to do wide angle, to get wide angle shots, but at the same time, they also get optical zooming to like 55 millimeters. And that's pretty impressive, with the image stabilization, optical image stabilization. Previously, zooming 55 millimeters wasn't a big deal, but it was done digitally. And the picture quality, when you zoomed in, the picture quality was terrible.
Yeah.
If you lifted a still from it, it was awful.
Is this going to be a dual camera both sides?
Well, yeah, all phones are dual cameras these days, but this is a dual camera because on the back, you've got 2 12 megapixel cameras. On the front, you have a new improved camera. I think it's 7 megapixels.
Wow.
But they have a new selfie camera that they've improved with some benefits. But the main thing about the new device, the cameras are much better. These phones are now water and splash resistant, which is great. And they now have stereo speakers. that 3.5 millimeter jack that everybody's so ticked off about that they pulled out. They put in a speaker in place of it. So,
did you see? By the way,
devices sound better.
Did you see the wireless earbuds that they came out with?
I did, and that's an accident waiting to happen because you drop $160 for those. You got two little things. I can just see people driving around, in their car, like reaching under the seats looking for the one that fell out of their ear.
Yeah.
People are going to be losing those things left and right. I thought it was $59 when I was listening to the spiel, and then I realized it was $159, and I'm thinking that's a lot of money for two little earbuds that you're going to lose.
But the nice part is if you don't want to do that and you want to stay with your old system, they have you can actually plug into your power cord adapter and use the old earbuds.
Yeah, what's nice about the new one, Apple got this part right. They're doing two things. They're not giving you that wireless Bluetooth $160 earplugs. They are giving you an adapter in each iPhone box, regardless of model on these new ones. You're going to get a Lightning to 3.5 adapter. So if you have, current products that fit the 3.5, you can still use them with the adapter. They're also going to provide a wired headset with the Lightning connector. And they basically are saying this is digital versus analog. We'll have to see if the sound quality is any better. But the device is impressive. Other changes, we got the A10 Fusion chip, which is going to be 2 times faster than the iPhone 6. We've got a better battery on both of these models. Aside from the immersive stereo sound, this thing's going to approach the 7 Plus, DSLR standalone camera quality. So for photographers, I like this new 7 Plus. For regular people, the 7 is a great device. Now, you talked about memory, Robert.
Yeah.
I checked, and I'm at 20 gig personally right now on my 6S Plus 64 gig.
Mm-hmm.
So I could maybe survive on the 32. I definitely couldn't make it on the 16. I'd rather have the 64.
Right.
But they now make 128 and 256. So we're now up to 256 with Apple, which is terrific. This new device is nice. I'm trying to get one of the 7 Pluses myself on this new program. I'm not sure if it's eligible for dealers, but I'm going to give it a fighting shot.
Yeah, it sounds like a great phone.
Anyhow, that plan that was escaping me, that new Verizon deal, it's 8 gigabytes, and they're throwing in an extra 2, so it ends up being 10 gigabytes for $70. And that's not bad for Verizon.
Wow.
So anyhow, that's all good. We have a lot of crazy stuff going on. You've heard about what Apple's doing with Swift. You know what Swift is?
No.
Okay, Swift is their code. So developers, who are writing apps are using something called Swift. Well, Apple developed a new app, and it's designed to teach kids how to code with Swift.
Really?
So it's called Swift Playgrounds. As soon as I hang up, I'm going to download it. I figure if these, 10-year-old kids can figure it out, maybe this old dog can learn a few new tricks.
You're going to start developing your own apps, right?
Why not? I don't know how to code. If they're teaching kids how to do it,
yeah.
I don't think they're going to proof me. I'll give it a shot.
Yeah. I mean, what a great idea.
Yeah, I thought so. So anyhow, looking forward to checking that out. Let's see what else we have cooking. I did the 9.3.5, by the way, upgrade last night. I had it for about 12 hours until I woke up, and then I did the new one.
It's interesting. You and I just talked about that last week, and I even did that one instantly. The minute I got the notice, I did it. And then yesterday, when I didn't get the notice from Apple, I got the notice from you that it was out.
Not to do it.
not to do it. And then I went right on and I went into my my systems and had it check and said it was available, and I did it, and it says okay, it says requested, and then it says okay, you can do it, and boom. And I did it right away. And it was your fault I did it, because if you hadn't reminded me that it was available, I probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah, well, I had to do it. But before I forget, I wanted to also point out to your users, a lot of people are asking me, where can I get great deals on phones? Mm-hmm. And I don't know what we call if I mentioned this previously, but, Amazon Prime members can get that G4 Play for $99. They can get the 1080p high resolution version of that for $150. These are unlocked phones, work with any of the carriers right now. So no contracts, $100 good phones, 5-inch screens.
Now, Joel, unless I misunderstood, didn't you tell me at one time that all phones they have to give you a chip? You can go anywhere with your phones now that they have to give you a replacement chip, so you can use it for any company.
Yes, pretty much a lot of the designs, and I found out why Verizon's iPhones are unlocked. Remember, we've talked about how Verizon is the only major carrier that has unlocked iPhones out of the gate. You don't have to request to have them unlocked. I get people from Verizon bringing me these. I pop in T-Mobile SIMs, and they work great. No need to call Apple to unlock them. I found out the reason they're like that is because Verizon did a frequency swap at one point to get a specific frequency from the FCC, and one of the regulations or requirements the FCC told Verizon was they had to keep their phones unlocked in order to get approval for this, so they did. So I always wondered why Verizon would do that. Nobody else does. And I guess they were squeezed to do it by the FCC in order to do a frequency swap. But thought that was interesting. So anyhow, the other interesting thing is this. One of the things that we wanted on the iPhone 7 was that full face screen. You know how some of these Androids like the Edge, they have no bezel. The whole phone is screen. Well, Apple finally is going to do that, but it's for next year. They're not doing it this year, but the New York Times just confirmed rumors that they're going to the full screen design, and the home button is going to be part of the screen instead of below on our devices. So that'll be kind of good.
Well, the only question I have about that is that, on my phone, and you have the same thing. I've got the Mophie, and the Mophie, extra battery backup, actually seems to protect the face of my screen, in that if I drop my phone, because it's got that little lip on it, it kind of protects the screen from getting scratched if I drop the phone accidentally.
No, that is, the Mophies are very well designed. A lot of cases give you that extra lip to cover. As long as you got the coverage around the corners, that's usually where the danger is. Yeah. But the Mophies are wonderful.
Yeah.
And they do improve battery life. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be tougher for Mophie and all these other cases now, because the new devices are shockproof, they're waterproof, and they've improved the battery capacity.
Yeah.
So a lot of people are just getting the tempered glass screens. You put the little thin tempered glass over your screen, and then put a cheap, rubberized case on the device, and you really don't need that extra battery boost. Well, that's what they say. We'll have to find out when I get that new 7 Plus, but I'm told it's better than the current one.
I just keep thinking that if you have the extra power, what I actually manage my power. I keep my my Bluetooth off, and I keep everything off that I'm not using, so it's not using up that backup power. But like when I get in my car, I turn the Bluetooth on so that it'll work through my car system, and it does use up more power. And so that Mophie, I kind of like the idea that I can be getting low, and all of a sudden I know that I got another 100% in there if I want to turn it on.
Oh yeah, they're wonderful if you're going to conferences, you're traveling, you're out of the office, you're not in your normal routine.
Yeah.
Where you're going to be, or if you're in an area that has lousy service. I don't know if you've noticed, but when you're in areas with no service, your battery just goes much faster.
Yeah.
Than if you're in an area with service. The other thing is GPS. If you're not using it, turn it off. Wi-Fi, if you're not using it, turn it off. Your screen brightness is critical. I love mine lit up like a Christmas tree, but when my battery goes low, I put it down to about 50%, and that will save you a boatload of battery. That uses a lot of battery. And then there's also applications, Spotify, Facebook, all that stuff running in the background.
Yeah.
And one of the things before we go to break, I've been doing senior tutorials. I wanted to reach out to Suzette because we talked about this for, a couple years ago.
Yeah.
And never really put it together. And just recently, I've been giving tutorials to doctors at UCLA, and it turned out that these were older doctors. And one of them told me that, you've got a knack at this. And I feel comfortable now and, improve my life, my quality of life by introducing me to some wonderful apps and showing me how to use this device. And I can schedule stuff to remind me by voice. And he was just ecstatic. He said, you should be doing this.
Well, I'm surprised that you don't have it as a service or a subscription service or something on your website, and that you don't just do the videos, put them on your website for subscription, and people can just go in there and learn what they want to learn about their phones.
Well, I'm actually working on that. And, funny you should mention that. And I'm also talking to some of the senior homes about, putting on some events. And I get the same feeling, Robert, as when I'm helping the Wounded Warrior Marines, when we teach them how to surf, and help them with their TBI and post-traumatic stress disorders, and they just get so much pleasure out of it, and I get this wonderful feeling like I'm giving back, and I'm kind of getting that same feeling with these seniors. I see them light up, and they grasp it. They get it now. Yeah. They have this device and they know how to use it. And you know what? And
you can see the light bulb go on, right? Hey, listen, give out some contact information so we can take a break and then come back at you.
All right. Thank you, Robert. Everything we're talking about here is on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/DR Wireless. We also have it on our website, www.drwireless.com. And anybody who's interested in any of these offers or has any questions can contact me directly at joel@drwireless.com.
And we're going to be right back with our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Don't go away. You will miss out, guaranteed. We got a great show with Joel coming up. We'll be right back.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make The Interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Gentle Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39, a complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay a great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza Live on the Street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:24 p.m. Pacific time. Hey, it's going up. It's 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. If you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Lisbon, Portugal, well, it's 61 degrees and partly cloudy. And if you're in Hong Kong, 77 degrees and it's misty. Now, that's the good news. And the bad news is it's only 7:24 in the morning there. You get but it's tomorrow. That's good news. You lost a day. But we're talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Saltzman. Hey, Joel, you got the microphone.
Yeah, Robert, have you heard what's going on with the World Anti-Doping Agency and the Fancy Bears?
And the Fancy Bears?
The Fancy Bears is a Russian hacker group.
Oh.
They're known as the Fancy Bears, and they apparently hacked and leaked the medical files from Serena Williams, Williams, Simone Biles, and obviously there was over 100 Russian athletes that were banned from the Olympics in Rio this year, so they're not real happy. So apparently they're hacking health records in the U.S., for some of our star athletes. So.
Well, too bad they couldn't hack the health records for a couple of our candidates.
Well, they're working on that. Funny you should mention that. That is in the works as we speak. Speaking of hacking, it's an epidemic, but there's been 2 instances that were rather interesting. There was one instance, you probably heard about Mattel.
Yes.
Hasbro, Mattel, and others pay $835,000 settlement for tracking children online. And it all has to do with toys. That they're giving kids, and, it's the same old story, with GPS devices or just information that people aren't disclosed about, you're not allowed to.
It's an invasion of privacy.
Yeah, it's terrible. But apparently it's been going on, and, it's going to stop. But that is not the only issue. I thought I'd seen everything and heard everything. There's another privacy issue, same kind of thing, and it has to do with a lawsuit that was filed in Chicago, and it was it's alleging that a company called Standard Innovations WeVibe Security is collecting intimate and sensitive information, and it's transmitting it back to the company's servers in real time. And the lawsuit was filed by a Chicago woman, and she claims that, these folks, this company was collecting user data without her consent. And the product pairs, it's called WeVibe, and it pairs a smartphone with a vibrator.
Oh, you're kidding.
So I don't think we need to say anything else. Mm-mm. But, to me, it's amazing that, you could even pair Yeah, it's a smartphone with a vibrator. But the fact that data is being transmitted back each time it's used, you know, and the intensity and the mode chosen and the email address of the registered users. I mean, this is really above and beyond. I mean, you know, this shows why you got to be careful using, you know, household devices and connecting them to the internet, especially personal ones.
Oh, yeah.
So,
yeah, you know what?
You thought you heard everything, huh?
Well, it's interesting, you know, because part of this new iOS 10 thing is household controls, right? Locking doors and turning on and off lights and thermostats and stuff like that. What happens if somebody hacks into that and they can turn off your alarm system, unlock your front doors, do anything they want to do, right?
There's a lot of danger to that, and and here's the other issue. We talked about this a while back. I think it was with a product, a thermostat product, and the company had developed this Internet of Things technology where it hooked up. But the problem with this is, I guess their technology was, you know, cutting edge at the time, but now it's obsolete. So they basically bought a new company that was doing, you know, that one up them, and they abandoned everybody who bought their original product. And I foresee with this Internet of Things, it's not quite going to be as easy as everybody forecasts, because you've got servers running in the background. What happens when Google decides, you know what, we don't want to support this anymore?
Yeah.
You know, if you've got, you know, something, you know, that your life relies on, and they decide that, you know, there's an interruption with the server, you know, maybe they don't want to support it. Maybe there's an internet outage. There's all kinds of, you know, anybody who's ever walked into a store that, you know, shut down because everything comes to a stop because they lose their internet connection will understand that when your household appliances are relying on the internet, you better think twice about that.
Yeah, because
have a backup plan, no less.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you know, a lot of people that are in remote areas. If the electricity goes out, they better have a generator, right? Well, if the internet goes out and it's controlling your household, you had better have a backup.
Yep, exactly. And we also have more people in the U.S. There's now been 70 Galaxy Note phones reported that are overheating due to defective batteries in the U.S.
Wow.
In the U.S. alone. So I don't know where that leaves it overseas.
Is this part of that exploding battery deal?
Exactly.
You know what? I mean, boy, how dangerous. Can you imagine sitting on that or having it next to your ear, next to your eye when that battery decides to go? Man.
Or if it's sitting on your charging stand on your next to your, you know, your bed.
Yeah.
Could be bad. I heard in New York that they're now talking about, you know, the metro system and the subway system in New York's now talking about banning people that own Note 7s from getting on public transportation.
Wow. How would they know?
Well, they may make them pull out their cell phone before they let them on.
That could be.
Well, so that could be interesting. Anyhow, just before I forget, we start talking about those Motorola phones, you know, as people are asking me for alternatives to spending, you know, $650, $750, $850, $950 for a high-end phone. If you want an Apple and it's the latest phone and you don't have a 6 or a 6S to turn in, you know, the Apple phones aren't cheap, but the Androids are, and you can get really good top-of-the-line Android devices. As we mentioned, those Motorola start at $100. You can get 1 plus 2. Those are under $300. Huawei has something. They have an Honor 8, a Mate 9, and these are incredible phones. They're the company that makes the Nexus product for Google. So if they're good enough for Google, who owns the operating system, they're pretty good phones. And they're made in China, so the pricing is ridiculously low. So something, you know, if you want like a Samsung S7 for less than half the price, these are good models to look at. You know, and the other thing I want to mention is this: you know, anybody thinking about upgrading to, you know, iOS 10. I did it no problem, but I just want to remind anybody out there with a jailbroken phone, you might want to think twice, because oftentimes when you do these upgrades, they can brick your device and you can lose that jailbreak or worse. So I would Google before doing that to see if anybody else is having those issues.
So what you're saying is you and I just got lucky.
Well, I'm saying we don't have jailbroken phones. A lot of people jailbreak phones so they can download apps from places other than the App Store.
Oh, I see what you're saying. I didn't understand. I misunderstood what you were saying.
Now, what you were saying, when we were talking about these hacks, is, right now the NSA is worried because there is information. They have information that there are hacking groups, I believe, out of Russia and who knows where else, that are trying to hack information regarding the candidates, and that they do want to influence the election. So I have a feeling that you're going to see a lot of information coming out. You're going to see a lot more of these email releases and all kinds of stuff coming out regarding both candidates. But I'm guessing mostly Hillary, because it seems like these idiots in these other countries want Trump.
Yeah. It's scary. We did a report earlier in the news today where everybody seems to think that the hacking issue really isn't going to have much of an effect on the actual voting here in the United States, but the hacking that gets you data that you can release that these candidates don't want released because it gives an adverse opinion of what their physical status is, that could actually control the campaign without you having to get into somebody's computer.
The interesting thing is, I've been hearing so much speculation regarding Donald Trump and, why he steadfastly refuses to release his tax returns. And I'm now hearing regarding all his foundations that all this money that he claims that he's donating to charity apparently was money given to him. Vince McMahon from the World Wrestling Federation apparently donated almost $4 million to him.
Yeah.
So he donates it to Trump's foundation. So Trump then will make, a donation in Trump's name,
right?
To some charity and write it off. And I'm told that, there is a good possibility that, one of the reasons they don't want to release his tax records is going to show.
Oh yeah, I think there's
what's going on.
I think that his tax rate and the absolute minimal amount of taxes that he actually pays would be a source of embarrassment if he truly is worth $10 or $11 billion and he's making the kind of money that would be representative of that. I think his tax returns would be a source of real embarrassment to him. Besides which, when people start opening up and they're looking at these foundations and some of the stuff that is being leaked out now, if it turns out to be verified that these indiscretions are taking place, well, that's a big deal.
Absolutely. So I think we're going to hear a lot more about this, but it's interesting. I'm not sure if I have a feeling that he's probably, got lots of bankruptcies and has probably written off tons of losses.
Yeah.
I'm thinking he's probably written off the taxes he'd have to pay personally were probably written off as business losses.
Yeah.
So I'm guessing he's paying next to nothing for taxes, and I'm guessing all of those donations he's making are not coming from him personally, but coming from his foundation.
Right.
And this is money that others have donated.
Yeah, and that's what it's looking. That's what, see. Yeah, and that's what it's looking like. It's just, what I think. Yeah, as much as I don't want to actually say things that I don't know to be fact. But it wasn't that long ago they were talking about, for the veterans that he had this fundraiser, and they had raised something like $3 million or something in this one fundraiser that he did instead of going to the debate, if you recall that thing. And and the money never went. Finally, some news agency found out about it, forced him to do it, and a lot of it turned out to be, well, it's in transit, or it's on its way, or it's being vetted, and it never really got to where it was supposed to go.
Exactly. I heard the same thing. So, I don't know. I mean, the funny thing is, I was actually, kind of embracing Gary Johnson, until he got that Aleppo question, and what is Aleppo, and
Well, you know what? I think that he thought it was a dog food. I'm not sure that. Here's the deal.
He thought it was an acronym.
Yeah. Here's the deal.
He thought it was an actual acronym, and I can understand that.
Yeah. You know what? When you're under the gun and you've got 100 news guys popping questions at you and people popping questions at you, every once in a while you just have one of those moments where you have a brain something or other, right? And nothing, and it just doesn't click. And you know what? I can see that. I can see that happening. It doesn't mean that he doesn't. I think he knows. He probably knows about Syria. Wasn't sure about Aleppo, and he thought it was, like you said, an acronym for something. And just
he knows what it is now.
Yeah, that's for sure. But you know what? Here's the interesting thing: the media tried to bury him with that thing, and he got a 3-point bump in his ratings.
Yeah, well, it's a shame. The media does that. The media is driving so much stuff in this country. It's just ridiculous. I have a friend of mine who sends me media from other countries, and one of which is from Israel. And it's astounding to read their perspective of what's going on with a lot of stuff in the world versus our perspective. It's a whole different. It's 180 degree different interpretation.
Well, it's interesting because I've got friends all over the world as you do, and it is really interesting to hear a different point of view. I used to tell people all the time, if you really, really want to know what's going on in the United States, you've got to get the heck out of the United States to find out.
Exactly, or get BBC or Al Jazeera or Israeli news or some other country. Yeah. Because everything in our country is slanted.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate.
Yeah. Hey, listen, give out that contact information one more time because believe it or not, we are out of time.
Boy, that always happens. I was going to give you my 16 tips again, which we never got to 2 weeks ago, but maybe next week.
Okay.
Anyhow, all of this stuff can be found on www.drwireless.com. We have it on our Facebook page, Facebook.com/drwireless. Anybody with questions can contact me personally, Joel@drwireless.com.
And we've been talking to our own Dr. Wireless, Joel Salzman. Hey, Joel, go out and make this a fantastic week. Enjoy a wonderful weekend. Get your toes wet. Get out there on one of those boards. Enjoy yourself. You know what? You've worked hard for it. You've earned it. You owe it to yourself. Do not let anybody cheat you out of an opportunity to go surfing.
You convinced me. Thanks, and I'll talk to you next week.
All right. And the rest of you folks, stick around, because when we come back, we'll be doing the birthdays for the day, the secret daily teaching for your life, the Harvard business tip of the day, and interesting but useless facts. We'll be right back with a lot more fun, and interesting show.
If you want to increase your client base and sales, then consider this, the Relationship Building Network at RBN. Given the current economic conditions and challenges, we all need to work smarter, make smarter decisions, invest our hard-earned dollars where it'll yield the best return for our investment. Many business professionals claim that the most effective networking group in Orange County is RBN. No other networking group or organization can offer what RBN offers. Make every year your best year. Join RBN and start reaping the benefits today. Nearly 3,000 businesses have joined RBN and experienced those benefits. Why join RBN? It's one group. It's one membership. It's no renewals. It's all through Orange County. RBN is a freestyle networking group. No mandatory attendance, no restrictions, no rules, and no penalties. Call them at 949-830-5776 or go to their website at rbninfo.com. That's 949-830-5776. If you've ever dreamed of having your own business to make your life secure, Water's Edge Wineries might be just the ticket. In 2004, their founder, Ken Lineberger, created the first winery franchise in California. It was a new concept with all of the functionality of a traditional winery, but without the vineyards. They purchased high-quality grape must from one of the largest winemaking companies in the world. Then they craft each wine carefully and bottle it right at their location. The winery was built to satisfy consumer demand for wine by the bottle and by the glass, but still kept the element of allowing customers to bottle their own custom vintage. Now, they're opening urban wineries across the United States under the brand Water's Edge Wineries. If you've ever dreamed of owning your own winery, it may be in reach right now through Water's Edge Wineries. Just give them a call at 909-468-9463, extension 700. That's Water's Edge Wineries, 909-468-9463. Have you ever found yourself caught between a rock and a hard place? The law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett might be just the answer for you. The attorneys of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett have been serving the Inland Empire since 1989. They're dedicated to the aggressive litigation of civil, criminal, and real estate matters. Over the years, they have recovered tens of millions of dollars for their clients. The firm's practice specializes in litigation of personal injury, accident, slip and fall, real estate, and criminal law cases. The firm provides clients with the care, accuracy, and dedication of experienced attorneys. Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett is located at 10300 4th Street, Suite 150 in Rancho Cucamonga, California. They've been providing the Inland Empire residents with outstanding legal services for over 25 years. They look forward to providing you with aggressive legal representation. Call them at 909-945-5000, where you can talk to a person, not a machine. That's 909-945-5000, the law offices of Blomberg, Benson, and Garrett. And now let's get back to our show where we talk about politics, money, and you.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:43 p.m. Pacific time. It's currently 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California, on its way down to 58 degrees. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you happen to be in Vienna, Austria, well, it is 63 degrees and clear. And if you're listening to us in Madrid, Spain, it is 57 degrees and partly cloudy. But you know what? The sun always shines right here in sunny Southern California. Let's get to the Harvard business tip of the day. You know, and the management tip today is, when you're annoyed by a colleague, take a look in the mirror. Yeah. You know, sometimes you work with someone you just don't like. Maybe your colleague rubs you the wrong way, disagrees with you constantly, or is arrogant and entitled. Well, before you start pointing fingers, take a look in the mirror. Consider how you might be contributing to the problem and try to objectively assess what you may have done to escalate the issue. Or ask a trusted colleague for their perspective. The goal is to test your assumptions. You may think it's all the other person's fault, but that's rarely the case, you know. What you're reacting to may have little to do with the other person and more to do with your own history. It's possible that the person reminds you of an obnoxious sibling or an old rival, or maybe you can be a bit of a control freak and your frustration comes from being unable to call all the shots. If you can understand what you're bringing to the situation, you'll know better how to address it. That's how you handle these things. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the secret daily teaching for your life. And it's all about a positive mental attitude. You do control your entire life. You get up in the morning, you get in the bathroom, you look in the mirror and you say, wow, I'm going to have a great day today. It's going to be profitable. It's going to be productive. It's going to be wonderful. And I'm going to decide if I'm going to be happy, am I going to be sad, rich, poor, successful, or a failure. I'm going to decide how the people around me are going to be feeling. Yeah, it's all about a positive mental attitude, and you do control all those things. Now, the teaching for today comes from Charles Hanel, who was born in 1866 and died in 1949. He says, to become conscious of this power is to become a live wire. The universe is the live wire. It carries power sufficient to meet every situation in the life of every individual. When the individual mind touches the universal mind, it receives all its power. Yeah, it's you. It's believing in yourself. It's being or having a positive mental attitude. Well, you know what today is? Sure you do. It's Wednesday. It's September the 14th, and it is somebody's birthday. Well, we've got some good birthdays today, 4 of them actually. You're gonna, hopefully you'll enjoy them. I know I enjoy when I do these things. I can tell you that, here's a fellow who was born in 1949, passed away in 1977, died at a young age. The guitarist and songwriter for the band, Leonard Skinner, and happy birthday to Steve Gaines. Well, here's another guy born in 1949, a musician who was best known, as the guitarist rock band Leonard Skinner. See? 2 guys. Same birthday. This guy Happy birthday, Ed King. And then another is born in 1983. Singer and songwriter known for her eclectic mix of various musical genres. Happy birthday to Amy Winehouse. And then finally, born in 1989, a television personality and CEO of West Coast Choppers. Happy birthday to Jesse James. Yeah, not the bank robber, the other guy. Well, you ever wonder what happened today in history on September the 14th, 1812? Napoleonic Wars. French grenadiers enter Moscow. The fire of Moscow begins as soon as Russian troops leave the city. And on this date, in 1948, groundbreaking for the United Nations headquarters in New York City. And then finally, on September the 14th, 1990, Ken Griffey and his son Ken Jr. become the very first father-son duo to hit back-to-back home runs. Yeah. Well, you know what? Our quote for today comes from Frank Zappa. Frank says, rock journalism is people who can't write, interviewing people who can't talk, for people who can't read. Yep. Frank Zappa, you know, it's a wonderful life. He really did a real service for this country. Well, you know what? Let's talk about those interesting but useless facts. We've got a couple minutes here. I can give you a few of them. Let's get with them. In this case, did you know that the revolving door was invented on August the 7th, 1888 by I think it's Theophilus Van Kinnel from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Why that's important, I have no clue. How about this? Did you know that caffeine boosts memory? You know what? I drink about 3 or 4 cups of coffee a day now. I think I better double that up, because the older I get, the worse my memory gets. I'm going to give that a test. And how about this? Did you know that the lungfish can live out of water for several months in a state of suspended animation? Didn't even know such a thing existed. How about this one? The Volkswagen was originally called the Strength Through Joy Wagon. Well, when I was a kid, we used to call them pregnant roller skates, or just the beetle or the bug. You know what? Did you know that the only city in the United States to celebrate Halloween on the October 30th instead of October 31st? I don't know. You know what? It's interesting. I've got this thing here. It's supposed to tell me, and it doesn't. Kind of ticks me off. It just went dumb. Okay. Anyway, here's one for you. Babe Ruth hit his very first major league home run on May the 6th, 1915. He was playing for the Boston Red Sox at the time. The Sultan of Swat went on to smash 714 round trippers before he retired as a New York Yankee in 1935. Wow. Can you imagine? Just what a career. And let me leave you with this. Texas was one of the first states to adopt capital punishment by lethal injection in 1977. Well, don't go away, because we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. Our story today is called Inseparable, and I'll tell you all about that right after these brief messages. Don't go away.
Isn't it time to shine the spotlight on your expertise? The Interview, starring you. Here's your chance to capture 5 minutes of fame with The Interview. This isn't just any interview. This is your opportunity to showcase your expertise and position yourself as a trusted expert in a one-on-one video interview hosted by Robert Cardoza, host of the nationally syndicated show Robert Cardoza Live, and powered by AHA Studios. What is it? A professionally recorded video for your use. Robert Cardoza interviews you on the set where he records his show. Professional interview showcases your expertise and value, shot in a state-of-the-art studio. And what's in it for you? Gain credibility as an expert, earn the trust of your target market, educate in a way that intrigues your audience, gain a powerful marketing tool that offers dozens of uses, website, video sharing sites, social media, email, DVDs, direct mail, lobby video, resumes, profile building, all that kind of stuff. Association with the nationally syndicated celebrity. That's right. And let's talk about AHA Studios. AHA is a strategic marketing firm that leverages the powerful and visual persuasion to help your business create powerful messages that connect with your target market. AHA ventures way beyond strategy, delivering the marketing collateral you need to start driving a new business through your doors. AHA has a full-service, in-house, state-of-the-art production studio to bring your messages to life using video. Discover how to make the interview work for you. Call 949-831-2222. That's 949-831-2222. AHA Image Studios Incorporated. Dr. Stephen Tidwell, Dental Family Dentistry in a caring, personalized environment. Here at Dr. Tidwell's office, we are dedicated to helping you keep your teeth healthy. We are a state-of-the-art dental practice that still believes in traditional values, such as excellent customer service and individual attention. We have a special welcoming offer for you for just $39. A complete exam, personal consultation, professional cleaning, and all necessary x-rays. That's a $266 value for $39. Dr. Tidwell has 2 convenient locations and experienced staff to provide you with professional care and personal attention that you deserve. Call today. Don't delay. A great smile another day. Call 909-944-7308. That's 909-944-7308 for Rancho Cucamonga or San Bernardino. Joel Saltzman is Dr. Wireless. He has turned his considerable expertise into consumer credit risk and wireless security into a highly specialized independent web-based consulting enterprise targeting consumer credit risk analysis and wireless transactional security and monitoring. He works as a wireless analyst, veteran independent agent, and consumer liaison for most wireless telecom carriers and equipment manufacturers. For more than 20 years, corporate and private clients and media audiences have counted on his unvarnished advice while weighing the technology, performance, and cost differences between Sprint, Nextel, AT&T, Verizon, and T-Mobile. Joel specializes in setting up mobile wireless hotspots to be used for disaster preparedness, business continuity, and mobile wireless merchant processing solutions. Call Dr. Wireless at 310-400-4900 or go to his webpage at drwireless.com. Again, call 310-400-4900 or his webpage at drwireless.com. You'll be glad you did. And now, back to our show.
And I am Robert Cardoza. You're listening to Robert Cardoza live on the street at the intersection of business and politics. We're at 4:54 p.m. Pacific time. It's still 80 degrees here in the heart of the Inland Empire in sunny Southern California. And if you're listening to us on our globally syndicated network and you're in Tokyo, Japan, it's 73 degrees and mostly cloudy. And if you're in Sydney, Australia, it's 64 degrees and it's clear. But right now, let's get to our tribute of the late, great Paul Harvey. And I am Robert Cardoza. We're going to do our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey. Paul Harvey is rest of the story. The biggest and the best voice in America reveals the startling heartbeats behind the headlines. Paul is one of America's favorite radio and TV commentators. He's heard in over 775 ABC radio stations and over 400 foreign stations, seen on 110 television stations and read in 300 newspapers. Recipient of numerous awards and honors, including 9 honorary degrees, and he's on Gallup Poll's list of America's most admired men. Boy, if you never had the opportunity to listen to Paul Harvey live, boy, did you miss out. What a phenomenal gentleman he is. Well, today's story is inseparable. You know, nearly 100 years before Freud or Tennessee Williams might have raised your eyebrow, John and Bob were inseparable. From the day they met, they so enjoyed each other's company that they ate from the same table, lived in the same house, slept in the same room. In public, they were never apart. In the privacy of their home, they greeted guests together. They were inseparable. I don't know how you feel about this so far, but try to put yourself in Bob's place. When John died, theirs had been a constant companionship shared by few people on earth. Few brothers, few husbands and wives. Now it was over. A poet said of death, "Now at last, for the first time, you have given me pain." And so, for Bob. John Gray was buried in the Greyfriars Churchyard, Edinburgh, on the dismal spring morning in 1858. Throughout his illness, Bob had never left his side. Afterward, at the funeral, Bob wept unashamedly. He watched wet-eyed and heartbroken as his friend was lowered into the ground. When the ritual was finished, the minister and the attendants slowly left the courtyard, leaving Bob to his quiet grief. The story would have ended there had Bob's courage been greater or his sorrow less. Instead, acquaintances passing Greyfriars later that evening found Bob still at the graveside, head bowed, silent, remembering the kind attention John and Bob had shown them. "Come home with us," they said, and Bob went home with them. But he would not stay. Next morning, it was apparent his bed had not been slept in. Bob had gone back to the grave of his friend. Many times he was gently urged from the churchyard, as many times he returned to mourn. It was for his own good that they leave, they said, but the reasoning was useless. Bob never again saw the house that he had shared with John. Each day, Bob maintained his graveside vigil, and eventually the sexton at Greyfriars gave him an official permission to stay. In all Edinburgh, this was an unprecedented display of grief, and the curious citizens frequently passed by to watch. The neighborhood children, impressed, sometimes brought food and drink. Bob, though grateful, remained. In inclement weather, a woman might bring him a shawl and a kind word or two. Once, a baroness was so deeply touched that she commissioned a bronze medal for him to wear. But Bob stayed, and everyone understood. For 14 years. For 14 years, Bob quietly kept his daily vigil. Then, one cold January morning in 1872, he was found at the graveside, still, lifeless, his visage filled with a strange contentment. Bob was buried nearby to keep company in death, the man he would not abandon in life. Today, in front of the Candlemaker's Hall in Edinburgh, there's a fountain dedicated to the memory of Bob. His friend John Gray, who otherwise would have been forgotten, is remembered also because Bob, a little ruffle-coated Skye Terrier, loved him. And that is the rest of the story. Wow. Well, don't forget to miss tomorrow. Don't ever think about missing it. We're going to have a great story tomorrow, too. It's called The Terrorist. You're not going to believe it. You're going to love it. It's going to be a great story. And then also tomorrow, we'll have Sean LaFave will be here. We'll be talking about healthcare on his segment, and God only knows what else on the Geared for Wellness corner. And then I'll contribute our tribute. Like I say, I'll continue our tribute to the late, great Paul Harvey and the rest of the story. And I want you to tell all your friends about my show here on the RLC Broadcasting Network. You know what? They'll be glad you did. You'll be glad you did. And you know what? I'll be glad you did, too.
That's our show for today. Beginning today, treat everyone you meet as if they were going to be dead by midnight. Extend them all the care, kindness, and understanding that you can muster. Your life will never be the same again. So many of our dreams at first seem impossible, then they seem improbable, and then when we summon the will, they soon become inevitable. You know, the real secret of happiness is to make others believe that they're the cause of it. Robert Cardoza Live is brought to you by blogtalkradio.com every Monday through Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. Pacific Time. Now, go out and make it a great day. Your host has been Robert Cardoza, the technical advisor, Matchstick Digital, and your executive producer, also Robert Cardoza.